Hello, and welcome to a brand new day of free to play here on Magic the Gathering Real Life. Get the dish on the latest with me, Lord Rumfish. Today we are talking about shrinkflation. Now, shrinkflation is where someone charges you roughly the same price or an increased price, and you get less product for it. So, that could be a bag of cookies that has fewer cookies in it, or it has the same number of cookies, but the cookies are smaller. Or both. There are fewer cookies and they're smaller. So when it comes to Magic, I'm talking about the Play Booster era. I thought it would be interesting to put this conversation in the context of opening Outlaws of Thunder Junction. This is something I put some of my Christmas money towards. And I've been meaning to make this video for a little while now. The reason this set is interesting to talk about play boosters is because in some ways Outlaws of Thunder Junction is the pinnacle of what you can expect value-wise from a play booster. And they'll probably never hit this threshold again in terms of dollars to booster packs to rares in the booster pack. Probably never happen again. They could make booster packs that have more rares in them, but they'll probably charge more for them. Probably never get back to the ratio we have here. So, why is that? Well, I'll start opening the box while I talk about it. So, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, along with Murders at Karlov Manor before it, were some of the very first play booster products. And they've got 36 boosters in the booster box still. So 36 boosters is what draft booster boxes used to have in them. And when they first introduced play boosters, they were kind of meant to be a combination of the draft booster and the set booster. The set boosters had fewer in a box, but they weren't made for draft. They were made to be opened. So, looks like this box took a tiny bit of damage in shipping, but it should be fine for the cards inside. So there are 36 boosters in here, whereas your modern play booster box is going to have 30. So if you go and you get Lorwyn, Eclipsed, or you get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that one might actually be weirder. Who knows? You get Avatar: The Last Airbender, Final Fantasy, Edge of Eternities. They're going to have 30 packs. So that's 20% less value that you're getting compared to 36 packs. This box has got, 20% more stuff in it. You could say, okay, but maybe the more recent boosters have more rares in them. They don't. It's just not true. If you look at the ratios for how many rares came in a booster pack, Outlaws of Thunder Junction has the highest ratio of all of the play booster products. Now, there's a couple of outside factors that influenced why it happened that way for Outlaws of Thunder Junction. This set has 2 bonus sheets, and one of them wasn't meant to be in this product. Originally, there was going to be a small set. I've made some videos on the channel about this before. Called The Big Score. And The Big Score was going to be a product like Aftermath. If you've never heard of Aftermath, there's a good reason why. It was a universally just panned product, meaning everyone made fun of it. Came out right after March of the Machine. And Aftermath was just a tiny little 50-card set where if you opened a lot of these little epilogue boosters that had 5 cards in them, you saw within, 2 or 3 or 4 booster packs, you saw all of the uncommons in the set, and you were already getting multiples of all the uncommons in the set. So the real reason to open the product was just to get the rares and the mythics. And a lot of them were kind of like niche, made for commander type of rares, but they happened to be legal in standard, so you still had to pay attention to them. Everyone just hated it. The set sold horribly. So they stopped the production of the little set that would have been attached to Outlaws of Thunder Junction called the Big Score. The things that would have been inside the vault that the main characters are trying to open. But they still had cards that they wanted to make from the Big Score. So they added them as an extra bonus sheet that you can open up every so often in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. And those 30 cards that they added, they put all of them as mythic rares. But you open them more commonly than the regular mythic rares of Thunder Junction. That's part of it. And then there was another bonus sheet that was intended to be with the set, which has like the newspaper treatment on it. I forget what they're called. But those 2 bonus sheets combined, plus the, play booster general ramifications of, you can open a couple of extra rares, and then the foil slot can be a rare, and then the bonus sheet can be a rare, and now there's also another bonus slot that can exist from a bonus sheet. Which means that these packs can, I believe, have 5 rares in them. That is very uncommon to happen, but it can. And I think the overall density of rares in this set is greater than 1.5 per pack. The ratio in this set is better than any other play booster product that's ever been made, and I'm going to say here and now, or will ever be made, at a similar price. They could make one that has more rares, but they would charge out the nose for it. It'd be closer to a collector booster at that point. So, Shrinkflation. So I got 6 more boosters than a modern product would, and those boosters have more rares in them than a modern product would. So what did I pay for this box? I believe it was $115. Yeah, it was $114.99. Shipping included, not tax included. So that's how much it cost to get it to my door with these 6 extra boosters and all the rares. But let's put it to the test. Let's see what we can actually open here. And if all the theory crafting, talking about shrinkflation, measures up with what's actually in the boosters. People didn't like this set because it was a hat set. You can see from the very first card, they've got cowboy hats on. So Murders at Karloff Manor, the Outlaws of Thunder Junction started this thing about hat sets, which were they're like goofy sets where you take the characters of Magic, slap them into a detective's hat, or a cowboy hat, or a space helmet, or what have you, and you say, this is a hat set. They're taking on a goofy theme and just applying it like a coat of paint over regular Magic. The limited format was actually a lot of fun, though. I played the heck out of this limited format. It wasn't quite as good as March of the Machine, but that's a high bar. March of the Machine had a fantastically fun limited format. And Outlaws of Thunder Junction, I thought, was just a little bit behind that. You could build a 5-color deck very easily. All right, so here's our first pack rares, Malcolm the Eyes. Okay, this is like a special guest, so I forgot there were special guest cards in this as well. So I guess that's another bonus sheet that you can have in Thunder Junction. Forgot all about it. Port Razor. There we go. And just like I was saying, here's Indomitable Creativity. So we just got a rare and Special Guest, which is flagged as mythic, and Indomitable Creativity, which is a mythic on the bonus sheet. These can be uncommon rare or mythic rare. And then we got a foil Shoot the Sheriff, which is maybe worth a little bit of money. People actually do play this in standard. All right, and a Desert. So, first pack, 3 rares. There you go. Off to a good start. Let's see what the next one holds. So, and the other thing about it is, it didn't cost that much to buy this box. You know, it was like $115. There have been some recent sets where I'm going to put these, I think, in the box. These booster wrappers. There have been some recent sets where the price of the play box has gone up to like $180, $200 in the case of like Final Fantasy and stuff. They've come down from there. You know, that's like the initial wave of hype. But some of them stick up around, you know, the $150, $160, $140 range. And Wizards has raised their prices again, I've heard, on Laurel and Eclipsed, and they're going to just keep doing this. Whereas this box, I got for $115 with shipping to my door, and it's got more stuff in it. And that sounded like a better value prospect to me. Here's the key to the vault. All right, this time we got an uncommon on the... sooner or later I'll forget what... I'll remember what this is called. Something news, maybe? This bonus sheet. Anyway, got an uncommon there. Got a foil common. So this pack was not as amazing as the first one, but the two of them average out, right? It's kind of the idea. So as goofy as this set was in terms of its theme, and I'm not going to cut Wizards of the Coast any slack on the theme, those elements of the set were dumb. Why is Marchesa here at all? Why did what's-her-name travel from Eldraine to here on the promise of Jace, who was disguised as Ashiok? Ariette, that's her name. Why did Ariette come here, and then why didn't Ariette raise a fuss about being dragged here for no reason? Story-wise, some things don't make sense. All right, here's Vraska joins up. All right, we got another rare. There's Primal Might, so this is a 2 rare pack. Got Stop Cold. Oh, you can get a foil in the land slot too. That's cool. So this is a double foil pack and a double rare pack. That's neat. So yeah, story-wise, setting-wise, Thunder Junction's dumb. Make no bones about it. But in terms of the value that you get out of opening the packs and the experience of playing Limited, was quite good. I actually really like the Limited for this set. You get right down to it, some of these cards, you know, Dance of the Tumbleweeds was good in Limited. It's probably fine in Commander. I'm not saying it's going to be like a top tier Commander card. But if you just want something that can get you a land or a desert and make you a giant elemental, it's totally playable. Absolutely playable in Commander. It's probably fringe-worthy in Standard if you could make a good enough ramp deck. But, you know, like not quite good enough. There's a lot of cards like that now because Standard is such a huge format, where some cards are just not quite good enough. But that one would be a lot of fun just to play casually. You know, kitchen table Magic, Commander, stuff like that. Okay, Sandstorm Verge. Was that 4 uncommons? Yeah, that's 4 uncommons. So there's interesting things going on with the bonus sheet and the way the packs are put together in the set. You can just open a lot of value. Here's Laughing Jasper Flint. I've got a deck on Arena that uses a copy of this guy. It has like Outrageous Robbery. It just exiles the heck out of the opponent's deck, and it lets you steal their stuff and sweep their board over and over. And it doesn't play a lot of creatures, but it does play a 1 of this guy. Alright, we got a Humiliate. It's an uncommon. We got Foil uncommon. That's fine. Yeah, we didn't pay an arm and a leg for this. Or I didn't in any case. Sometimes I find myself using the word we when I'm doing a YouTube video. I'm not sure where that stems from exactly. Am I trying to connect with the audience when I do that? Sound off in the comments. Do you ever find yourself talking in that we form? It's okay if you don't. I can be weird. Weird's good. Outcaster Trailblazer. This card's actually part of a combo deck, so it could have some value. I don't know what the price is on it. Back for more. Man, this is such a beating in limited. It's probably not bad in Commander, considering just how much punch it has in limited. Skullduggery. All right. So I would like to see some big scorecards. I forget what the average is. You're supposed to see a big scorecard like one every 4 or 5 packs, something like that. We've been far enough that I feel like we should have seen one by now. So I'd like to see one. Rakdos joins up. This does see some standard play. You can kind of create a combo with it where you reanimate everything from the graveyard, your legendary creatures die or you kill them otherwise, and your opponent just loses life from its secondary ability. So it's not bad in reanimator piles. Abrupt Decay. It's a good one. So that's a rare hit on the bonus sheet. Got a foil Vile Smasher. So anyway, I have mixed feelings about this set because of the tone and the story. But I think it's very playable. I think it's got a lot of totally serviceable cards in it. The limited format's fun. I wouldn't mind turning this into a cube draft at some point where it's just endlessly replayable. Oh, here we go. Oko the Ringleader. It's actually not that easy to pull the base set mythics in these play boosters. There's all these bonus sheets you get all these fancy cards from, but actually hitting the mythics from the base set is not the easiest. So, Oko the Ringleader. This isn't a crazy Oko, but he's all right. Terminal Agony. This was playable and limited, but very often you'd have to pay 4 mana for it. So it was hard to get the madness on it. So it ended up being okay, but it wasn't like a bomb or anything in the limited format. All right. So the thing about Shrinkflation, get back to the main topic here, on top of only putting 30 packs in the booster box, on top of that, they've also made it much harder to pull cards from the bonus sheets, where you only see them like once every 8 packs, or didn't one of the recent sets, like Avatar or something, you only pulled a bonus sheet card like once every 23 or 24 packs? That's that's rare to the point of being dumb. You could at least pull a mythic rare like one out of every 8 packs. You'll see a couple of them, 2 or 3, 4 in a box. Something where you might or might not pull one in a box starts to feel pretty bad when it comes to play boosters. If you want to put your chase cards into the collector box, that's fine. But whatever. Open a whole case of collector boosters, you don't pull a serialized card, whatever. Those are not marketed to me. I'm too much of a penny pincher. I like value. All right, double down. So we got a mythic rare here. Recast an outlaw spell, copy it. It could be fun. It's probably not worth anything. Lotus Ring. Here's a big scorecard. No one's come up with much of a use for this card yet. Um, it might have a little bit of a premium on its price just because it references Black Lotus. But overall, I don't think this card is terribly playable unless you can equip it for free. At the point you can equip it for free, you could start sacking creatures to generate mana. Um, so maybe in some sort of an equipment deck that's also a combo deck. That's starting to sound really weird, pretty niche. But there you go. One of the big scorecards. Happy to pull them. It's part of what I'm here for. I found it fascinating, the whole saga of Aftermath and the big score and the small sets. It's something I've covered on my channel. I put out videos about all of that, and I put out videos about Assassin's Creed. If I was really going to keep up with it, I probably would have talked about Spider-Man and how Spider-Man was a failure because it started as one of those tiny sets, and they tried to expand it at the 11th hour and it failed. So Spider-Man's a continuation of this same saga, all the way back to Aftermath and the big score. Is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles going to be an extension of that same thing? We'll find out. It looks like it's going to be another small set. Okay, here's Obeka. She's really interesting in terms of commander. In terms of limited for this set, Obeka doesn't really do much. There's not a lot of upkeep triggers in limited format, but I'm sure she does stuff in commander. Outlaws Merriment. This was a really fun standard card back in the day. It randomly makes a different token every upkeep. So that's kind of fun. We've got a 2 rare pack here. Foil Tornado. So the bonus sheet cards can be foil too. All right. So it's hard to say how much you should judge a set based on how it plays and how useful the cards are versus the story and the art. That gets into some, things that are pretty subjective for an individual person. So the things that are not subjective about this, like the 36 packs and the extra number of rares that you can pull, those things are quantifiable, and I like them about the set. Annie joins up. Decisive Denial. Raucous Entertainer. In the Desert. A couple of foils. So I'm not sure what the booster pack looks like in terms of production for this set. It's kind of all over the place, you know. They've got special guests. They've got breaking news. That's what it's called. The breaking news cards. So you got breaking news, special guests. You've also got the big score. You got 3 bonus sheets. That's at least 3 bonus sheets. You can pull 2 foils, as you've seen in these packs. So I don't even know what the slots look like in this pack. There's a lot of strange things going on with how the cards got divvied up for this set. All right, Wily Duke. This one's really good in limited. Probably be fine in Commander too. Just play vehicles, play mounts, play whatever you need to tap this guy. Repulse. It's a good card anyway. If I'm being honest, and I should be honest, as stupid as this set is, I didn't hate it. It was fun to play, and as goofy as it was, I found it lighthearted in a fun way, whereas like Murders at Karlov Manor was supposed to be hard-bitten noir. It was supposed to be serious, and they made it goofy where it was supposed to be serious. Cowboys, I don't care if it's goofy. That just seems like good fun. You know, if you want to make a Blazing Saddles set, this is kind of like a Blazing Saddles set. Um, so it's okay that this set is silly to me. Um, you know, just almost like an unset in a way. Just kind of good fun. Assimilation Aegis. This is totally playable in the artifact deck in standard that also uses a big scorecard. It's from this set, the one that makes tokens with power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts you have. This plays just fine in that deck. That deck's usually blue-white. So it's a good hit. And not too much else in that pack. So yeah, I had fun playing this set. This set is actually the last time I went to pre-release. So I sat down, played with the physical cards, had a good time. I played 5-color, it went well. The only problem was I didn't open enough power cards. And I just mean like anything that was like a 6-drop or higher. I wanted more big stuff, and part of the reason I played all 5 colors is A, because I could, because I had enough fixing, and B, because my sealed pool was really weak. So I played the biggest stuff I could find in all of my colors. Every over-the-top card, even if it was just like a big common flyer or whatever. My sealed pool was really bad. So I played all the best stuff I could find in all 5 colors, and I did okay. I think I went like 3-1. Might have been 2-2. Bonnie Paul, she's one of the bombs of the format. I still think Bonnie Paul, if if you could ramp well enough in standard, you know, Badger Mole Cub, what have you, get to the 6 mana mark, I think Bonnie Paul's perfectly fine. It's just that there's even better stuff to do. Yeah, it's not that Bonnie Paul would be a bad play. I think she'd be perfectly acceptable. It's just, well, why would you do that if you could just play Ouroborid? Or what if you could just play Craterhoof Behemoth and just kill the opponent this turn? Why do you need 2 giant bodies? Even though she can draw you more cards, you know, and do cool stuff. We're in kind of a weird game right now with standard where it's such a big format. Commandeer is a 2 rare pack. Scale Storm Summoner. We're in a weird standard where it's so big. Excuse me, let me get a drink. Standard is such a big format that things that cost 1 and 2 are extremely important, or things that can be reduced to 1 and 2 mana, like with the Lessons deck. Those things are so important for the format at this point. There's so much crowding for attention, for room into the deck, that only the best cards make it in. And the best cards are from a wide swath of sets, and those sets that are, in my opinion, power creeped, power crept. Here's Dust Animus. People thought this card was going to be really good, and then it saw basically no play. It's very good in the limited format, I will say. Bling, the classic. 2 foils again. Maybe it's just that the lands can be foils. I thought we had a pack that was 2 things where one of the foils was not a land. Am I mistaken? I wasn't paying close enough attention. I might have to make another stack here in a second. So, overall, Thunder Junction, I'm okay with it. I was okay with this one being a goofy set because I didn't feel like the subject matter was serious in the first place. Whereas Murders of Karlov Manor was offensive because it was supposed to be serious, and it just wasn't. Here's a murder mystery set. We're going to fill it with unicorns and pastels and flowers and all kinds of bright, cheerful, colorful things happening all across the plane, and all these goofy detectives. Um, it's like everyone wants to cosplay a detective suddenly in Ravnica. And the set should have been serious. I had a comical piece I did on the channel a while back where I put on a tiny fedora and act like a noir detective, investigating what went wrong with Karlov Manor. If you like comedy, you might enjoy that piece. It's only like 7 minutes long. Tiny Bones joins up. Hypothesizal. Um, so this card in limited is fine. Um, you start needing to deal more than 4 damage to kill things. This format goes pretty big, I have found. So Hypothesizal is a perfectly serviceable card, but it won't kill, the mid to late game threats that you need it to kill. So you can't rely on it to be hard removal. All right. Now, I think Thunder Junction was the last set. I could be wrong about this, but I think it was the last set that had 36 play boosters in the box. So after this, value proposition went down, but the price stayed the same or went up. In the case of Universes Beyond, for licensing fees and whatever, I guess the price went up a lot. And you still got 6 less boosters. And insult to injury on the number of rares in the pack thing. The bonus sheets. The bonus sheets being so far between, the number of times you get multi-rare packs, so being far between. So here we have Insatiable Avarice. This is a good card, especially in Commander. Just you can spare the 3 life. Just use it as a draw 3 for 3. Territory Forge. This is one of the worst pulls from the big score. Interestingly, it does exile an artifact or a land, and then it has the activated abilities. So you can use this to Stone Rain the opponent and ramp yourself. I keep thinking that this card might be playable in Standard. It's just on Arena, it's hard to experiment because it takes Mythic Rare wild cards to craft it. So is that really where I want to spend my Mythic Rare wild cards? So there's a lot of decks that deck brewers like me might be interested in making, but because of the economy of Arena and the way wild cards work, I'll make a new stack. Because of that free-to-play model and the way wild cards work, there's a lot of deck ideas that I might have tried out that I am just not going to because it costs too many resources. So even though we have an enormous Standard format full of all kinds of possible deck builds, it's actually hostile to brewing. If you're trying to make something that's not a budget deck. It's very beneficial if you're a budget brewer to have such a big card pool. There's all kinds of stuff you can make with commons and uncommons. Bibblethip, Lost on the Range. Step Between Worlds. So we got 2 rares there. Hindering Light, foil Thunder Lasso, foil Swamp. But yeah, if you're trying to brew around rares and mythics, and let's be honest, some of the most interesting designs and frankly powerful designs of most sets end up at rare and mythic, then yeah, if you're trying to brew around those cards, it just gets harder and harder to get your collection together, to be able to be like a rogue deck builder, because it's so impossible to cobble together all the different rares and mythics that you might want. In real life, okay, here's one last job, not too much else. In real life, you can buy rares and mythics that are not that expensive in dollars. And you can brew around what's called the jank, the budget rares, the budget mythics. You can brew around that stuff in real life, and it doesn't really cost you much. Some rares you can, easily pick up for less than 30 cents. Some mythics, even, you can get for well under $2 or even less than $1. But Arena, if it's a rare or a mythic, it costs you the same wild card, whether it's a good card or a bad card. And, oh, here we go. Vraska joins up Ancient Cornucopia. Ancient Cornucopia is a pretty playable one from the big score sheet. It's the being able to gain life turn over turn. Makes it pretty good in kind of controlling lists. So this is actually a decent hit from the big score. It's got, looks like a 2 rare pack there. And 2 foils. But yeah, what I was saying about standard, it pushes you towards making the most economical use of your rares and mythics, your wild cards. So you only craft the things that are universally good in all decks that you want to build. So for example, Starting Town from Final Fantasy that can make any color of mana. Comes in untapped in the early turns. That card is one you might craft all 4 copies of. I did. Because it's just good no matter what color combination you're playing, no matter what you're brewing. If you're going to be in any deck that's 2 or more colors, you can slot it in, and it'll be fine in there. It's actually good in the Steel Stuff deck that I made because some of the cards don't mana fix you. Like the, what is it, the Dragon that has an adventure, expensive tastes. That one doesn't mana fix you. So having cards like Starting Town helps me get the mana I need to play the opponent's spells. Laughing Jasper Flint. Contagion Engine. So we got a mythic from the bonus sheet. So you end up crafting a lot of the staples. The go-to cards that everyone uses, goes in every deck. Things that are just so universally useful that are like proven in the format. You end up crafting those along with everyone else. And decks end up looking more homogeneous because, it'd be the same to craft those as it would be to craft the junk rares. Slick Shot Show Off, Ride Down, make your own luck. So this one still sees some play in red decks. May have actually picked up in the amount that it gets played since red had a bunch of stuff banned. So if what you want to do is just kill the opponent as fast as possible, you can plot this thing, play a bunch of pump spells and burn spells, and the opponent can be dead very easily if you haven't played a Slick Shot Show Off before. It's a good card. Don't know if it's an expensive card, but it's very playable. But yeah, everyone playing a whole lot of games and gravitating around the same cards with their wild cards, I think homogenizes Magic in a weird way. Where in real life, you can buy some weird rares and mythics that don't see as much play, and brew in a different way than you can on Arena. So I think Arena is not perfect at all in that regard. Gold Vein Hydra pulled a mythic from the base set. Foil Full Steam Ahead. Full Steam Ahead's pretty bad in limited. It can win you a game, but I would focus more on value if you play this limited format. Just keep trying to draw cards, ramp mana, get 2-for-1s. Play the big expensive spells. It's usually a better way to tackle Thunder Junction. It's really hard to put together the aggressive decks. You need everything to go right. So I've definitely rambled a bunch at this point. Oh, here we go. Claim Jumper, Fell the Mighty. We got a double rare pack. Giant Beaver. They keep on making these jokes. If you thought that the dumb jokes, like Tell 'em Tor from many years ago being an anagram of Mr. Toilet, if you thought the dumb jokes of Magic's past were long gone, that's just not true. They are making cards like Giant Beaver. Or what was the one from more recently, like Consult with Beavers? Oh, a lot of these commons and uncommons are actually quite good too. Power Dragon was playing Outcaster Greenblade just recently, trying to make deserts work again. Slick Sequence. There are just a ton of cards in our standard. So many of them are like just on the cusp of playability that, no one would probably blink if you play it in your deck, but at the same time, they might say, oh, I haven't seen that in a long time, even though it's a pretty good card. There's Marchesa. Don't know why she's in the set, but she is. Which is pretty fun. Vaultborn Tyrant is a great card. This is a fantastic hit from the big score. This one's probably worth money. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Vaultborn Tyrant's probably worth money. It's one of the better hits from the big score. Murder Most Foul. So, as we come into the last bit of the video, wrapping up this last row of the booster box, which still has a little ways to go, I'm going to talk about Magic as a whole. So, Village the Bog. Magic's gone some interesting directions for someone who's been playing it as long as I have. I started around 2003. I was taught by someone who hadn't had a rules update in a while, so when I first learned the game, even though I learned in 03, I was taught by someone who was teaching me the old rules with like interrupts, using batches and stuff instead of the stack. It took a couple of years to get really straightened out to where I felt like I knew the Magic rules pretty well. So if you're someone who plays Magic and you feel like you don't have a strong grasp of the rules, just know that it took me a couple of years when I first started playing to really nail it down. So don't feel alone in that. It's a complicated game, and it's only gotten more complicated. I don't like some of the direction Magic's gone. Oh, this is a good pack. Well, let's talk about the pack for a second. Rakdos the Muscle. He's, not the best card, but he's all right. Nexus of Becoming. That's a fun one. I have used this on Arena, played it main deck, like in White Control and some other places. It's a cool card. Sometimes you get a random value artifact as a 3/3, and that feels good. Villainous Wealth. So we got a 3 rare pack here. That's nice. Which, I guess technically 2 of them are mythics, for what that's worth. It is opening Thunder Junction play boosters feels good in terms of the experience of all the neat stuff you open. Magic as a whole has not felt as good, though. Part of it's Universes Beyond. And, obviously, Universes Beyond has won the argument so far. That for now, it's here to stay. It's a thing, Satoru. It's a thing that's going to be in Magic for a good long while. You could say forever, but I never say never, and I never say always. I think getting into that kind of a heuristic shorthand is not good for your critical thinking. You say, okay, how would we ever come back from Universes Beyond? I think the answer there is they start running out of good properties to add into Magic, and the ones that were good the first time around, they get diminishing returns on. So, we're about to go back to The Hobbit. I anticipate The Hobbit's going to be a successful set with as good as Lord of the Rings was. I'm just, right now I'm thinking The Hobbit will be functional. It won't be as big as Lord of the Rings, maybe. There's a chance it could be bigger. Lila. But I think it'll be successful. And then where do they go from there? Because they're pulling from the books. They're not pulling from the movies. They could pay the licensing fees to pull from the movies, I guess, but does anyone even want that? There's definitely some controversy about how the Hobbit movies were handled. I think the first Hobbit movie was fantastic. It was close to the books. And then they took it off in another direction, and why did they do that? I did like Evangeline Lilly's character. I thought that was a worthwhile inclusion, but a lot of the other stuff going on in the second two Hobbit movies. There's Bruce Tarl. So, if they're pulling from the books, then after The Hobbit, the next logical step is the Silmarillion. Now, let me just say that the Silmarillion probably would translate to cards better than it was as a book. I think you can capture the exciting moments in the Silmarillion, which is kind of long and dry. But I think you can do a good job of picking out the really iconic moments from the Silmarillion in a card game that will feel better than it was to read as a book. I think it can be less dry and more fun as cards. I still think it won't be as successful as The Hobbit or the first Lord of the Rings. And then after they do that, here's two rares. Hellspur, Posse Boss, Spire Bluff Canal. Oh, this is a good pack. Hang on. Ionize. Counter target spell, deals 2 damage to the spell's controller. We got 3 rares there. Now we've got Foil Mythic Anti-Flash. So this is what I was telling you guys about. You can have Thunder Junction play boosters that can have up to 5 rares, I believe. This is a 4 rare pack right here. Play boosters were never this good again. They have not been this good since this point in time, and I think they never will be, unless they make them super expensive. They're more like a collector booster. At that point, sure, they can be fun to open and have more rares, but you're paying so much for them that it's not an apples to apples comparison at that point. So I think for the price and what play boosters are meant to be, that they'll never be as good as these again. Getting 36 in a box, getting so many rares and mythics in the individual packs. But after the Silmarillion, where have you got to go from there? The Lost Stories, Unfinished Tales. Here's 2 rares again. Pitiless Carnage, Archmage's Need. Oh, 3 rares. Detention Sphere. There you go. See, after the Silmarillion, which I think they will make the Silmarillion, I think the Hobbit will be successful and they'll make the Silmarillion. After the Silmarillion, I think they've got nowhere else to go. At that point, you have no more original source material, basically. So unless you start reimagining the Lord of the Rings, and you start making alternate versions of cards you've already made, or story moments that are less impactful than the ones you already hit. I think if you made a set after the Silmarillion, that set would bomb. I think that set would be absolutely miserably bad. So there's a limit how much runway you have. Whereas some properties are not as deep as Lord of the Rings, right? Like Assassin's Creed didn't do well. If you made another Assassin's Creed product, my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine how bad Return to Assassin's Creed would be? I'm saying some of these products don't even have a runway longer than one set. Here's breeches. So we're going to find out if Marvel is going to be a successful set. It probably will be. I anticipate that the Marvel set this year will be successful. They have a much deeper well of heroes and villains and stories to draw from for that set. So it'll probably be good. You know, kind of like Final Fantasy was good. I doubt it'll sell anywhere near as much as Final Fantasy, though. Even though Marvel's a beloved property, it's not hard to get a hold of stuff for it. So I don't think it'll sell anywhere near the level of Final Fantasy, but I think it'll do okay. But then will a third Marvel set, after Spider-Man bombed, after we have this big Marvel release, is a third set going to be good? I don't know that it is. I have serious doubts that the third Marvel set we see is going to be anything at all. I think it could be a terrible, terrible set. And then they'll already be locked in to make a fourth and fifth and sixth set because of the Soul Stones. And those sets might cost Wizards money to make. Stoic Sphinx. Molten Duplication. This is a good pull from the big score. It's so cheap to make a token copy with this card that it's relatively playable just because of the mana cost. Decisive Denial. Right. Got 3 packs left. So yeah, I think a lot of these Universes Beyond sets, some of them are going to bomb right out the gate, you know, even with the first set. And we have seen that happen now. With Assassin's Creed, with Spider-Man. We've seen it happen, it can happen, it will happen. If the frequency of that picks up, that'll be bad. If they're not able to return to a popular set and still turn a profit on it, like the 4th Lord of the Rings set, or you know, other things like that. The next time, let's say they decide to go back to Final Fantasy. They probably will. If it was that popular of a set, they'll probably end up going back to it because the corporate people will say, let's go back. And will it be popular? Yes, but will it be a third as popular as the first Final Fantasy set? I don't think so. I don't think it will be 1/3 the popularity of the first one. And maybe that's fine. Maybe Wizards would still make money. They probably would. On 1/3 of the sales. But what if it's less than that? What if it's 20% of the sales? Or, you know, what if it's reasonably popular when they go back? You know, it's kind of middling, but does well enough. And then they go back a third time. And the third time, they ruin it. And the third time is just horrific. And the prices plummet, and the boxes, you know, are fire sold like, you know, Crimson Vow or Dragon's Maze, something like that. It's not a good look for them as a corporation to their partners they're trying to license from. Join with us, we'll make your product look bad. Rakdos joins up. Mana Drain. Here we go. Got almost all the way to the end of the box. We got a huge hit here. I haven't looked at the price of Mana Drain in a while. Last I knew of, this was about a $40, $45 card. Could be less now. Could have bounced back. But this is an amazing hit. This is great. Interestingly, I actually have one of these already because I opened one from the prize boosters. You can see it on the channel where I opened another one of these Mana Drains. So that's 2 Mana Drains now. That's cool. An incredibly powerful card. And a Bruce Tarl. Is that a... Yeah, that's a 3 rare pack with a fantastic hit. Foil rare. Yeah. See, I think I've kind of proved my point about Thunder Junction. That the opening experience and the limited experience on the set are quite good. And, you know, deride it as much as you want to in terms of its story and art and whatever, but it is a heck of a deal compared to some of the Universes Beyond prices and sets and things that they're putting out now. 36 packs in a box. More rares per pack. Inspiring Vantage. These lanes are good. Yeah, these lanes are perfectly serviceable. Probably worth a couple bucks. Journey to Nowhere. So yeah, parting thoughts. It's not just Universes Beyond. It's also the problem of the speed of the number of sets coming out. You put a multiplier on how many cards are coming out. You put a multiplier on the price. And suddenly, I matched this out on the channel a little while back, but you know, maybe I used to spend, you know, $800 or $900 a year on cards when I was really in the thick of the hobby and I was really into it. And my same spending habits, you know, looking into like 2025, would have been like $1,500 or $2,000. And that's only going to go up as the number of standard releases increases and the price of those sets increases. So instead of spending more and more money, now I buy bulk. I buy commons and uncommons. I buy the rares that are 50 cents or less. So I buy a bunch of really cheap singles now in Magic, and this is how I keep my toe in the hobby. And I buy a handful of sealed product when I think the price is right, like Thunder Junction here. But I've been going over to Sorcery. Sorcery Contested Realm. It's a beautiful game with hand-painted, hand-drawn art. And it plays differently. You have a grid where you play out the Atlas cards, the lands, and you build a battlefield to deploy the creatures to, and your avatar is also a physical entity on that field as well. It's a really neat game, and the art is so beautiful. I'm going to do a box opening here on the channel in a little bit of the new set Gothic and talk about my sorcery thoughts. So stay tuned. For now, it would help me greatly if you liked and subscribed. And until next time, never stop honing your critical thinking and empathy.